Okay, darlings, this is the time for us to actually begin the session. My name is Naren, and I work with an organization which does this project called Wow Parenting. Now, Wow Parenting is a very, very ambitious idea that we had. We really believe that just through Wow Parenting, we can actually change the world. Now, imagine through right parenting, if we can bring up right citizens, what kind of an impact we can create on the world. And there we need your help. So if you like this video, please do share it with as many friends as possible in as many platforms as possible. One of the things which is a concern that many parents have is their inability to get through to their children through communication. They say, we know what is right, the kids know what is right, but when we talk to them, there is much more resistance than cooperation and acceptance. So we thought, why not use Facebook Live and do a live session and talk to parents about my experiences in helping parents fine tune their communication and therefore making parenting an enjoyable experience for themselves as well as for their children. So, happy morning, all my friends. Let me begin this program by sharing with you about my friend Jessica. Jessica has a lovely daughter whose name is Anu. Anu was studying in class 8. It was Saturday evening, about 8 p.m., and Jessica was just passing by Anu's room when she heard Anu tell her friend Tina that she today had a brilliant time with her boyfriend and she was with her boyfriend the entire evening. Jessica's heart skipped a beat because she knew that her daughter Anu was with her the entire evening. They were sorting out clothes which Anu has outgrown, and therefore Anu was telling a lie. Jessica heard Anu telling her boyfriend is a goalkeeper in the football team of Bishop's Undri, and right now she was with him because she's going to travel for 3 days outside town to visit a relative for their marriage. And the details were so apt. Jessica called me hoping that somewhere I would give her a solution, and somewhere she wanted to hear that her daughter Anu is not a pathological liar. Jessica said to me again, Naren, she is so convincing. The details are so specific. Jessica had no idea what to do, and she was worried. Has she failed as a parent? Well, parents often ask me this question: how do I deal with my children's lies? What should they do when a child says, I have done their homework, when the fact is they haven't even opened their books? What to do when the daughter says, I was in my maths tuition class, when she had not even gone to the maths tuition class? What to do when they say derogatory things about their cousins and then they say, I didn't say it at all? Well, I tell all these parents that lying is a very, very complicated truth. Let's go back a few years when the children were still growing up. And the day when the children realize that they can lie and get away with it, it actually changes their personality. It actually changes their self-esteem. And for parents, really pushes their button when they come to know that the children have been lying. Well, let me put things a little in perspective. See, everyone twists truth every now and then, either to get out of awkward social situations or to protect somebody's feelings. Let me ask you a pointed question. If all of us were true all the time, wouldn't we actually end up killing each other? Don't we hide our feelings and statements uh, towards some people? I'm not defending the children, I'm just getting the perspective. See, lying is not always a clear cut question about right and wrong. The best research on lies shows that while lying, it is not so important about what they are lying, but children lie when they're scared about how we respond to the truth. Actually, in a lie, children are testing us. Children will withdraw themselves from crucial information in the sense that telling the truth is going to invite a drama or it is going to disappoint the parents. See, children are hypersensitive to rejection. They actually live their life in front of an invisible audience and they think that everyone is watching them and judging them all the time. And kids need to feel that they can open up and say, I wish I hadn't said that. In fact, I lied about it. To encourage this, what a friend of mine does is every time she makes a mistake in life, at home in front of her children on the dining table, she would say verbally that, yeah, I made this mistake. I'm really embarrassed about it. And I really wish I had done things a little differently. And then she would involve the folks at home and say, hey, in this kind of a peer pressure situation, can you guide me how I could have handled that situation? That atmosphere is created where if I make a mistake, if I've done something embarrassing, uh, it is okay if I speak about it. It is absolutely okay if I accept it. It is okay if I ask help from my loved ones with respect to suggestions. It is okay if I share my embarrassment with my loved ones. They are not going to judge me, they are going to protect me. I shared these details with Jessica. I think it made sense to her. She put the phone down. She approached her child Anu, and in a very calm tone, she said, Anu, I'm sorry, but I accidentally overheard your conversation with your friend. I heard you mention about a boyfriend. She smiled and said, I just wanted to check in. Is everything okay? Anu hesitated. And then she immediately shared with her mother, Mama, this friend of mine who's Julia, she has been taunting me for the past few weeks that I am a bore, I am dull, I am not cool, nobody wants to be friends with me. And she's been saying, that's why even on Saturday afternoons and evenings, you stay with your mother at your home. It was too much humiliation for me. And I didn't want to be subjected to more humiliation. And hence, I created an imaginary boyfriend. I don't have any boyfriend whatsoever. Jessica just laughed at Anu and say, oh, I see. And then she asked, are you comfortable handling situation this way? Anu immediately said, no, Mama, I hate myself for it. I'm so uncomfortable. In fact, next time when I see my friend, I know I'm not going to feel comfortable. Anu didn't give any suggestion and just asked, so what can be done? Anu sat down and said, Ma, I have no idea. Please tell me what can be done. And Jessica said, I have two ideas. One, why don't you break up from your imaginary boyfriend next week and say, I've had enough of him? And two, why don't you create a distance from these toxic friends who are all the time taunting you and making you feel less about yourself? Anu did exactly that. Feels so relieved. And she came back and told her mother, Mama, next time in my life, if I am ever in a quandary of a situation, I know I can come and talk to you. You are so nice. You are so good. You are unlike every mother in the world. I can be friends with you. Lying is something which the child does to experiment to find out how much truth can their parents actually handle. So if we handle the lies of the child well and we deal with the situation beautifully, then the child believes I can be very open and I can talk with my parents whatever I want. So what did Jessica do? She went to her daughter Anu and she just asked her, I overheard you speaking about a boyfriend. Is everything okay? Uh, and Anu opened up and said, I have this friend in school. Her name is Julia, and she's all the time cribbing, criticizing. She's saying, I'm not cool, not good enough, not smart. And that's why Saturday evenings I am with my parents at my home instead of being out with some boy having a good time. And therefore, to shut her up and to stop humiliation in my life, I told her I have a boyfriend. Now, Jessica didn't start moralizing about right and wrong and good and bad and values and be strong. She went deeper and said, are you feeling good about having solved it this way? Would you like to discuss another possible options which would appeal to you? And they started talking to each other. And what came out is that imaginary boyfriend let us break up with him. And since there's a friend in whose presence you feel low, they are toxic friends. I don't want to keep these friends, is what Anu decided. A lie by Anu didn't escalate into a moral issue. It didn't become a guilt-inducing trip. It became an experience with which mother and daughter both came exceptionally close to each other. Now, what did Jessica do right? Jessica communicated brilliantly well with her daughter. The truth is, all of us now and then kind of play around with the truth. And there are times when, if we say only the truth and harsh truth, it might lead to a lot of hurt. So, truth is not always about right and wrong, and lying is not always a clear cut matter of right and wrong. In fact, the best research in the world shows that lying is not so much about lying, it's about finding out how you respond to the truth. Kids are also hypersensitive to rejection. They live their lives in front of an invisible audience and they think that everyone is watching and judging them. They need an atmosphere where they can be themselves. They need the company of people where they can be honest and open, and the parents will in turn understand that. Jessica did exactly that. She sat down and attempted to look at the world from her daughter Anu's eyes about how a 14-year-old Anu at school must be feeling humiliated when her friend Julia speaks about, you are not cool, you don't have a boyfriend, and other friends around would laugh at her. And to escape from this humiliation, Anu created an imaginary boyfriend. So it's not that Anu likes to lie, but with the maturity that Anu has, she does not know how to deal with it properly yet. And that is where Jessica scored an ace. And like a brilliant communicator, communicated thinking about her child beautifully well and not bring in unnecessarily morality about right, wrong, or how dare you tell a lie. In the culture of a family, you are telling lie. Now we are ashamed. She didn't do any of these dramas. She just moved with empathy into the life of a child. Now, this is called empathy plus possible solutions that suits the child. I was speaking with you about 5 things which Jessica did right. So let me run you through those 5 things, and then if you have any questions about conversation, I will take it up with you. In the meanwhile, remember that there is an entire video series on how to communicate with child in the Wow Parenting app and in the website. I wish you see all that so that you become exceptional parents. The first thing in communication is running experiments is more effective than setting tons of rules. We wanted our children to regulate their use of mobile time. First experiment, let's do it on 3 p.m. to 4 p.m., 8 p.m. to 9 p.m., and that's it. Well, it worked for 3 days. Fourth day onwards, it didn't work. Second thing we experiment is when you're having food or when you want to watch TV at that point of time. It didn't work because we realized using the mobile phone when the TV was on was a very, very bad move. Third thing, we said, let all of us decide what is it that we should do as far as mobile usage is concerned. Now, this worked, which means rule number one is running experiments is more effective than setting tons of rules. We experimented and we found out what works. Rule number two, the rule which is applicable to the entire family works much better than the rule which is applicable only to children. So which means if I ask all my family members, my kids to sleep by 10:30, they need to see mama and papa are also going to sleep by 10:30. If we say no mobile phones on the dining table, it means mama and papa also do not use their mobile phones on the dining table. So rule number two of communication, rules of the families work much better than rules exclusively for children. Rule number three, when children feel understood, they are much more likely to cooperate when they feel that certain things are being imposed on them. Now, in this scenario, we need to listen. And a classic rule which I recommend to all is listen 5, talk 1. Which means if you listen for 5 minutes, you have the permission to talk for 1 minute. Many parents inverse this rule. They talk for 5 minutes and they don't even listen for 1 minute. Only when children are heard, they feel they are understood. Only when they are understood, they are likely to cooperate. Now, here I come with two last very, very crucial important things. The fourth point, walk kid through scenarios. For example, what did Jessica do with Anu? Jessica asked Anu, tomorrow, in case your friend Julia comes to know you lied, what happens? Jessica asked Anu, these people who make you feel low about yourself, if you drop them from your life, then what would happen? Jessica asked Anu, my child, if you can say to people that Saturdays are my family days and I love being with my family members, what would happen? Jessica asked Anu, my child, if people humiliate you, what would be other alternatives to deal with them rather than thinking, those people who humiliate me, I must do something to prove that I am good enough? I mean, that is of course an option, but can you think of something else, or would there be some other possibilities to think also? Now, what is a parent doing when they talk like this to the child? They're not giving them do this, do this, do this, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this. They are helping them walk through certain options. When you do that, it opens the minds of the children. And remember, when the child says, yeah, this appeals to me, they believe they have made the choice, therefore they feel confident, they feel smart, and obviously their cooperation is also very, very high. And the fifth point might take you by surprise, and the point is, people's bizarre behavior often makes perfect sense to them. What do I mean by that? Let's say, for example, I go back home in the night after a full day's work. I do not want to sit on the dining table and have my food. I would like to just stretch my legs on the sofa and have my dining plate in my hand and maybe talk to folks at home or maybe watch a very interesting TV serial which is going on. Now, my wife thinks it's a bizarre behavior. She thinks, why would somebody want to sit on the sofa and eat food when there is a possibility of the sofa getting dirty? And then it is so difficult to clean. She might think this is so stupid. And to me, it might be like, this is the way I can relax. Now, we are not going to what is right and what is wrong. What I'm attempting to say is, what makes perfect sense to you may look like bizarre behavior to somebody else. And what is bizarre to you may make perfect sense to them. It can be something as simple as you want your children to brush their teeth before they sleep in the night. That makes perfect sense to you. But for children, they might be, huh, what, yeah, every night, what difference it makes? No animal ever brushes their teeth. Do they even have dentists? To you, it's bizarre. But to them, it is actually making perfect sense. Sometimes when you say something which makes sense to you but is bizarre for them, you might find they become rigid. Sometimes they might rebel. Sometimes you might just withdraw. Sometimes it might turn out to be humorous. When I talk about the difference is about what makes sense to you, it seems bizarre to you. Is there a way we can find a common ground to solve it? Is there a way by which what you wish to do also gets done and what I think is right can also get done? Can we find a way out for that? Now, when you do communication, keeping these 5 steps in mind, I'm sure you will find instead of resistance from your children, you will find a lot of cooperation, enough joyful moments, and the two of you will become very, very close to each other too. So let me summarize with these 5 points. Point number one, running experiments is much more effective than setting of rules. Point number two, establish rules as a family that has much higher possibilities of success. Point number three, when kids feel understood, they are more likely to cooperate. Point number four, walk kids through scenarios. Point number five, people's bizarre behavior sometimes makes perfect sense to them. Take care of these 5 points. Remember the live example of Jessica, Anu, and Julia. Let's keep this place alive in Facebook. If you ever have any questions on this matter, feel free to write the question over there. We will answer it. Or it will be a brilliant idea if you download the app of parenting, available both in the iStore as well as the Play Store. Go through all the videos that is there, especially that vertical which is on communication. And I pray that you excel as a communicator with your child. Now, my colleague Jasmeet is just telling me we have received a few questions. Well, the question that we were answering was, my daughter is very aggressive. She doesn't want to listen to a no at any situation. The answer is, whenever a child feels very vulnerable, whenever a child believes that the situations and people around her are not favorable, whenever she feels very threatened, she becomes very aggressive and does not want to listen to a no in any situation. In the Wow Parenting app, we have a series of videos on healthy self-esteem. My very strong recommendation would be have a look at all those videos and you will get a lot of ideas on what should be done so that your child starts cooperating. Till then, the 5 points that we discussed today will be very, very valid to you. Attempt to implement those points, especially in situations where she's aggressive. For example, what worked with Jessica when Anu was lying should work with you next time whenever your child is angry, aggressive, or cannot listen to a no. Implement it and let us know how does it go. The next question. My 8th grader has a big issue trusting anyone, even his parents or friends, so he's internalizing things. This I came to know recently via a diary. How do I talk to him on this? I understand your concern as a child. Uh, if you remember, one of the points that we made in this live cast was Children believe that somebody is judging them all the time. And unknowingly, we parents have a tendency to make those statements which says that you're not good enough or I don't trust you. It can be something as simple as, how many times do I have to tell you the same thing? Now, the moment we say that statement, how does the child process it? See, I'm being judged. Nobody even understands what I am going through. Most parents do not display as much empathy as they should. In other words, what we discussed today in the live cast was listen 5 and talk 1. Now, if you implement that with your child, I'm very sure your child will start slowly and steadily confiding in you too. Next question. My daughter is 5 years. Sometimes she listens to me and sometimes she doesn't listen to me. Isn't it very natural? I mean, why should children listen to parents all the time? It's not necessary. As long as they can understand the essentials, sometimes if they don't listen, it's absolutely okay. I mean, as adults, can we say that we listen to anybody on this planet all the time? Everybody has their own personality, everybody has their own sense of right and wrong. Once again, I'm so glad and proud to say that what we discussed in today's seminar, attempt to implement it with your child, and I'm very sure you too will see some very beautiful results. Or go to our app, see that how to communicate with your child section, watch those videos. If all those videos also do not answer your questions, which I think is next to an impossible situation, anyway, reach out to us through this page on Facebook, or my email ID is Naren, Naren at wowparenting.com. Send me a mail on that mail ID and I will share another alternative, provided you share with me what went right and what other help you need in communicating with your child. There's another question. I'm in a joint family and can't make rules for everyone. How should I put children in rules? It's a little difficult situation in a joint family when others have different rules. But then, if you are very well connected with your child, if your child is very well connected to you, if your child trusts you, then even if you are the only person who shares the rules that you have with your child will still cooperate with you. Again, it was a very simple suggestion, but it works brilliantly well. Most of the times we behave as instruction manuals with our child. We always tell them the do's and don'ts. Go there, don't go there, sit over here, watch this, don't watch this, sit now to study, why are you going down right, wear this dress, don't talk to that child. There is so much of do's and don'ts which happens with the child. The child actually believes that nobody understands me. And hence there is a tendency of the child to become a rebel. And then if we tell the child that you will have to do what I am telling you to do, they will rebel and say, that fellow is not doing what you want me to do, and hence, why should I do what you are asking me to do? Children need role models. Everything that they learn is so powerful when they learn it through role models. In our app, there is a section which is called as Have Bus series. There, the first H stands for healthy role models. Please watch that video. And when you watch the video, you will understand how important it is for the children to have role models. I understand your little difficulty that it's a joint family. But I repeat, if you are an extraordinary role model for the child, chances are very high the child will listen to you. If you are an excellent role model plus, if you are well connected with the child and the child trusts you, trust me, your child will listen to what you are asking the child to listen to. Let's go to the next question. Please help on how to make our children develop positively and how can they concentrate in studies. She's in the second standard. Otherwise, she is perfectly good in very other activities. Congratulations. I am so glad that your child is excellent in many other activities. In the app of Wow Parenting, there is an entire vertical which is on study techniques. That study technique, I think, has about 11 videos. And each one of those videos is small, small techniques on how the child can study better and therefore do better. Wish you all the best. Watch those videos. One at a time, implement those videos with your child. And I'm sure next time when we meet, you will tell me, not only is my child excellent in everything else, now she's also excellent in studies. Wish you all the best. Do we have other questions? Okay, one last question. Should we scold our kids when they are not listening? Let me ask you this question. When you are not listening to somebody, it can be your husband, it can be your father, it can be your brother, it can be a friend, what kind of a behavior will make you change your mind? What kind of a behavior will get your cooperation? I mean, would your cooperation be at its peak when somebody scolds you? Or would your cooperation be when somebody practices empathy, understands your point of view, and then guides them? So there are two kinds of expectations. Expectation number one is my expectation from my child because of what I understand is right and wrong. Expectation number two, my ability to understand my child's point of view, my ability to look at things the way my child is seeing the world, and from there, guiding my child out. We scold the child when we do not have empathy with the child. And trust me, in today's world, scolding will not work at all. In fact, over a period of time, things will become worse when we are scolding our child. So practice empathy, take them one small step at a time. Once again, see the videos on communication at wowparenting.com. And I'm sure when you see those videos and as you maybe listen to this chat again, it will give you an idea that scolding is not the solution. Empathy is the solution. Oh, we have three more questions. Okay, we'll take these three questions also. Uh, Role model, should I be perfect? No, not at all. I don't think any one of us is perfect, but we can be very sincere. Like I said, what one of my friend would do is every time she makes a mistake, she kind of says it in front of the family and says, today I screwed up. Today I made a mistake. Today I'm so embarrassed. Today I didn't do things the way it should have been done. And then she has a family talk. Yeah, guys, if you were in my situation, how would you have liked to face the situation? Which means when I'm wrong, I'm not showing know it all kind of an attitude. I'm not pretending to be perfect and not making mistakes, nor am I hiding arrogantly behind the fault that, hey, how can I be perfect? Nobody is perfect. I'm also human. A tour is human. Everybody makes mistakes. No. When I'm subtle, when I'm humble, with a lot of grace, when I say, I made a mistake. And when I put sincere efforts to improve, that's all which is required. If you can do that, you are a good role model for your child. Now think about any role model. All role models have their imperfections, but they're very sincere and they put 100% effort in making themselves better people. So do that and it should work. My son is 12 years old. Nowadays, he becomes very angry with everyone. How to control him? My friend, you and me won't be able to control our child. Through empathy, we will be able to make them look at another possibility. You know, one of the points that we discussed as the 5 pointers today on communication, walk your child through various situations. When I make the child walk through various situations, I show them options of dealing with the situation. When I show them options, see, nobody loves to be angry. If they're angry, it's because they're frustrated. What is the cause of their frustration? Cause number one of their frustration can be nobody understands me. Cause number two of their frustration is nobody wants to understand me. Cause number three of their frustration can be um, nobody wants to even listen to me, forget about understanding me. Cause number four can be I don't have genuine people around me. I have people who are all the time telling me what is not okay in me. As long as these causes of frustrations continue to exist, the anger will continue to exist. Only when I can help my child deal with these causes will I help him to deal with his anger.